You're listening to the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour with Blaze and Ken. And now, Blaze and Ken.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour. I'm Blaze.
And I'm Ken.
There he is. Ken, how are you?
I am doing swimmingly.
Great, great. I got a lot of Rebel going on today. I have Hot Blooded from Foreigner, one of my
Yeah,
favorite songs. And then
yeah.
I got Harry Potter. I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. So I guess I'm feeling a little like a rebel. And so today is a surprise show for you. You don't know who our guest is today.
I don't, and I'm very concerned.
Well, listen, it's your birthday this weekend, and I thought, okay, what can I do to kind of surprise Ken in a fun way that will be a fun show, and I have the perfect guest. So,
Okay.
or
Now, now,
potentially
now,
guests,
now I'm deeply worried and nervous and concerned.
or potentially guests, plural. So we'll
Oh,
see.
okay.
Anyway, all right. So how's the week been? So what have you seen? Have you anything good that you've been watching? I know I'm like hooked on Succession right now. My goddaughter's mom, Anisha, my friend, had mentioned Succession, and now I've been hooked. I'm on season one. I have a lot to catch up on, but I'm loving what I'm seeing, and I think because it came out like 4 years ago, I guess
Something like that.
3 years.
About 3 years ago, I think. Yeah, you've been like HBO girl lately. You and I
I
talked about
have
House of
been,
the Dragon. You talked about
yeah.
Succession. You're still trying to get me to watch White Lotus, which
White
I have
Lotus.
to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you are all about HBO right now.
Brian Cox is just so brilliant in
Oh,
this,
he's
and
so good.
I think the reason I didn't watch it originally because I didn't see any of the, trailers, so I didn't know what it was about, but I thought Succession was like one of the Reign or one of the, Queen shows, and I just had seen a bunch of 'em, I just wasn't in that zone, so I was like, "Well, um, let me just put this one on the back burner for now." And then I realized that no, it actually wasn't to do with royalty or anything.
Well,
Royalty in one way, yes, but not like, the typical
yeah.
royalty. So
Well, I'm a huge Brian Cox fan, actually. I mean, especially his genre stuff. Like
yeah,
he was in the X-Men movies. He was the original Hannibal Lecter on film. I mean, the guy is incredible. I
yeah,
love him.
yeah, it's amazing. So then what show are you into? I think you had mentioned it earlier.
I am so in love with the new season of Star Trek Picard. And
Okay.
this whole thing, it's the last season of the show. It's a incredible love letter send off that brings the entire Next Generation crew back together. After they originally said they weren't going to do that,
Okay.
for some reason they decided that for this season they were going to break the mold, throw that all away, bring everybody back, and it is fantastic. I'm loving every moment of it. I'm hooked. Each week is not coming fast enough, and the writing is so phenomenal.
Mm. What channel is that on, or where is that being streamed?
That is actually on Paramount Plus.
Okay. Okay.
It's one of their exclusives, and yeah, I can't say enough how much I actually love this show.
Awesome. And then there was one other one I thought that you were binging as well.
Oh, was actually going back to the whole HBO thing. I wound up rewatching the entire 12 seasons of Big Bang Theory recently. Actually, within a 2 to 3 month period, which is kind of insane considering it was on for 12 years, and I crunched it all in about 3 months.
Gotcha.
Um, but it was interesting because I loved the show when it was on, and watching it all like in one contained thing, watching the progression of all the characters over the years and how they've changed and storylines. It was actually pretty fun. It was a nice little project to go and revisit.
Gotcha. Yeah, nice. You know what? I've been watching Young Sheldon, and I really enjoy that as well. Like it's because I like the prequel idea of things.
Right.
So yeah, so I'm really enjoying that as well because I haven't seen the whole thing, but I feel like I've watched all of Big Bang Theory. Like I feel like throughout the time, uh, I'm sure I've seen all the episodes at some
I
point.
I think when the show first started, you and I had talked about it, and I wasn't overly hooked into it. But now that I just rewatched Big Bang Theory, I'm thinking about going in and giving it another shot. One of the other things is I'm a huge Annie Potts fan.
And here he is. Here's our surprise guest. This is from Non-Pro Radio, The Loud Idiots, Big Papa Pete Monty. Hi, Big Papa. How are you?
Salute.
Salute, salute. Thank you for joining. Oh, look, Ken is shocked.
Good to be here.
I
Always
am.
happy to shock Ken.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Well, you know what? I was like, what would be a great birthday present? This was, you were from his former show that he did on non-productive radio and the Loud Idiots,
Not
and I
idiot.
was actually on that show myself a couple times, but I thought how cool, let Ken like really nerd out for his birthday today. We're going to talk about WrestleMania and whatever else you guys want to talk about. So welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Ken.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. WrestleMania. Do you have a favorite wrestler, and has there been like a favorite match in WrestleMania that sticks in your mind?
Oh, well, let's see. Favorite wrestler besides Mo Sexton would probably have to be, if I got to pick one, it's got to be the Taker.
Okay.
Undertaker.
That's a good
It's an
choice.
easy answer, but it's true.
Yeah.
And how about
How
you?
about you? Ken, go ahead. You're next.
I mean, WrestleMania. I think of
Pause.
Mr. I think of Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels.
I'm surprised that didn't jump out of your mouth immediately.
Well, I was trying to set it up a little bit, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, mine is also the Heartbreak Kid. So that's the first one. When I was a kid, I do remember like Junkyard Dog and obviously Hulk Hogan, The Rock, like all the big ones. But yeah, Shawn Michaels is definitely my guy.
Funny enough, I
So
couldn't stand Michaels. I
really,
I held the longest grudge against him, or a grudge the longest time for what he did to Marty Jannetty.
That's right.
Because I
oh,
loved the Rockers when I was a kid, and when
okay.
Sean broke up the Rockers by kicking him through the barbershop window,
Barbershop window. Yeah.
never forgave him for that until I found out the truth.
Right. Well, so looking ahead for this weekend for WrestleMania 39, let's talk about who's on this ticket, who the matches are, and let's talk a little bit about them. I'll let you two like nerd out a bit.
Well, I know Pete and I recently were talking John Cena versus Austin Theory.
Yeah, that's a match.
That's gonna happen. For
Uh,
the
I'm,
for the U.S. Championship, and I mean Cena's been gone for a while, and it kind of seems weird to bring him back in a title match, especially considering that he's probably not going to be sticking around for it.
Mm,
Although, if you're bringing Cena in, if that's a foregone conclusion, I think putting him in a match for the U.S. Championship, which is what basically made his career, his run
Yeah,
with the U.S. belt,
yeah.
and in a position to put over uh, the other guy.
Austin Theory.
Austin
Yeah,
Theory.
that's it.
Well, do you
Just
think
the
that
guy
they're
who
bringing?
just said his name, and I can't even remember it.
Well,
I
that's
feel
the
bad.
other reason. Well, that's the other reason why I'm not, overly concerned about this match because I don't care for the personality of the character. And then you're bringing John Cena in, who's obviously not staying. So, what is this match going to give us after the fact?
After the
Do you,
fact, I don't know.
yeah.
Nothing.
Do you think that it's because John Cena is doing so much right now in film and TV? He's got a lot of stuff coming up and a lot of funny, comical type of shows where he plays these characters. I'm just wondering, if there's a tie-in there, or if that's maybe supposed to
Well,
elevate WrestleMania a bit,
oh,
like bringing the
definitely.
star back in.
They always like to bring crossover stars in, as well as to highlight alumni, if you will.
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
that and also the superstar box office draws for the the pop of the show too.
Yeah, they've done the same with The Rock. They've done with Batista. They
Yeah.
get one-off matches at WrestleMania, which is a nice treat for the fans, and helps to get exposure for their product, eyes on the WWE product, and more exposure for the stars' projects.
Right.
Personally, I'm going to be upset if Cena doesn't make his entrance in the Peacemaker costume. I think they should have done that at the Royal Rumble last year.
Probably.
Right. Now, what about I know there's a father and son match, the Mysterio boys, right? So
Ray and Dominic, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. I mean, I think officially, at least in WWE canon, I don't think Ray is Dominic's father anymore. If I remember correctly, he lost that custody of Dominic match to Eddie Guerrero all those years ago.
20-some years ago, yeah.
What I like is they're not shying away from that in the current storyline. They'll make a reference every now and then.
Well, also the fans will let everyone remember that too. So,
well, yeah,
yeah.
But WWE at times has had a very strong history of just ignoring what the fans are saying.
Right. How about the ladies? Let's switch to the ladies for a second. Who do we have for the ladies coming up?
Actually, that's something I'm looking forward to. One of the matches is a 6-woman tag match with Becky Lynch, who I'm a huge fan of, Trish Stratus and Lita, legends that have come back, versus Damage Control, which is Bailey, Dakota Kai, and
Io Sky.
Damage Control, not a bad villain factor, a villain faction. I know Pete and I have talked about the fact that we don't care for Bailey as the villain.
Yeah, I don't like her as a heel.
I appreciate it. I think that this new faction over the last year or two has brought a interesting dynamic to her. But I mean, Becky Lynch, who's like amazing, and then you got Lita and Trisha, are two of my all-time favorites. Like, I really kind of want to see this one.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, and then is there a title match for the ladies as well?
There's two, actually. The Raw Women's Championship and the SmackDown Women's Championship will be defended at WrestleMania. So the Raw is Bianca Belair versus Asuka, which we don't know much about.
Yeah.
They haven't had much of a build up to that match beyond Asuka winning a title shot, and they're just basically saying they don't like each other. There's not much story going on.
Right.
But it'll be fun to see. Asuka is a longtime veteran going up against a relative newcomer with Bianca Belair. Funny to say that she's a relative newcomer. She's had the women's championship since last WrestleMania, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But Asuka's coming back with renewed vigor, I guess you'd say. She's got something of an evil clown gimmick going on now. Which, if they actually give her some screen time, could actually be really good. She's she's had years of experience in Japan and now in the United States, and they rarely over here give her a chance to actually open up full throttle and show what she can do.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and then what's the other female title match?
That's going to be the. I would say that one's going to be the SmackDown Women's Championship, which gives us Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley.
And who do you have winning that?
You know what? I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan.
Okay.
Actually. And I'm not digging her being part of this other evil faction, Judgment Day, recently, where Pete, I mean, back me up. Like, there's a Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, kind of weird.
What do you mean?
Like relationship
a weird dynamic? The pseudo relationship with Dominic and Rhea.
Yeah, where he calls her mommy and
Oh.
It's weird.
It's very weird. I want to see Rhea win this just to kind of start breaking out of this Judgment Day angle that she's a part of and actually
Mhm.
going back into a singles thing instead of being part of this faction. But yeah, I want Rhea to win it.
Yeah, this
Okay.
has been a tough one. The way for them to market, because Charlotte Flair historically has been the egotistical, daughter of Flair.
Right.
And she usually falls into a heel role, a bad guy role.
Right.
Rhea Ripley is strongly characterized as a heel, but the fans are all behind her. So it's hard to, really get a grip on who we're supposed to be rooting for.
Right.
If you will. I'm with Ken. I think Rhea Ripley's going to win this one. It's going to be the next step for her career. Charlotte gets nothing from retaining again.
Now, how about I saw Brock Lesnar's coming back. So, who do you think between Brock Lesnar and Omos? Who's your take? Who's winning?
Whoever wins, we all lose.
He's not wrong. Yeah. I'd say my thing with that one is it's going to be interesting to see what happens when we've got a match where Brock Lesnar is the one who's expected to carry the match in terms of wrestling ability.
Right.
Not to take anything away from him, but he's always been the big dominant bruiser. I'm just going to brute force my way through this. That is literally all Omos has. It's like Omos. I don't know the man personally, but he is not a good wrestler.
You know what? I mean, it's just the weird thing of seeing how Lesnar can win this facing someone that is way physically larger than he, which doesn't happen often.
Right.
You know?
So who I remember there was a guy from MTV, I think it was The Miz. Is he in this? And what's his name?
He's the host.
He's the host this year.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
They didn't have enough good stuff to put him in a storyline, so he's hosting instead to give him something to do this year.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because they had nothing for him or if he's slightly injured or what, but yeah, they didn't even try to give him anything.
Or or it's a reason for him to interrupt the Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul match.
Ugh.
Because they have a history together too.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true. What about Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes? Who are you seeing in that one? I know Rhodes was injured, right? So now he's been off for a little while and he's back.
Yeah, he actually came back to the company for WrestleMania last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was during what? Yeah, it was problematic during a storyline with Rollins that actually took him out of commission for a while, if I remember right.
Yeah, tore his triceps. Pulled his tricep right off of the bone, actually.
Yeah.
What, like the pectoral muscle area?
Yep.
Oh,
if you look it up, there's some really horrible pictures because he did that while he was training for a Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins.
Right.
And he went ahead and did that match. Basically, his doctors told him, well, the muscle's been completely torn off the bone. At this point, you really can't do any more damage to it.
Right. Jeez.
So they let him wrestle. And
it wasn't pretty.
Black and blue all over.
Oh my gosh,
dark
I'm sure.
purple.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So then who do you guys have winning that match?
Come
back for the injured or who?
I think they're gonna be looking at a riot, a literal riot if Cody Rhodes doesn't win.
Okay.
I totally agree.
Everybody is ready for the belt to be off of Roman.
Yeah.
He's had it for too long.
He's had it for like what, 3 years now? Or 2 years? 2-3 years?
Almost 3 years. I think maybe just no. I'm trying to do the math. I know that if he holds it till sometime in September, it'll be a 1,000-day reign.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's the only reason why anybody thinks, well, maybe he'll keep it.
Yeah.
So they won't get him up to that 1,000-year mark, or 1,000-day mark. It'll feel like 1,000 years.
All right. So how do you guys feel about playing a little game, a little wrestling game?
I don't do games.
I don't like playing games,
Big
especially
Papa
if
Pete, too
wrestling's
bad.
involved.
It's your birthday. It's it's Ken's birthday. We're doing a game quickly.
Good. I don't
I
like playing games about wrestling either.
I got 2
or by
bookcases
yourself,
full of
right?
games behind me. It's fine.
All right. So this is, you guys can discuss amongst yourself if you want, or just take a guess out loud. When was the first WrestleMania? What year? No cheating, Ken.
Oh,
Take a guess.
P. I mean, I'm thinking 85.
I want to say no. It was 84.
85.
Oh,
Because
Perfect guess.
I remember seeing WrestleMania 3 when I was living in Little Falls with my friend Karen, who lived two doors down, and they wound up ordering it, and it was 87. Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, so 85,
So
85,
3 was
1985.
87, so minus 2.
oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
WrestleMania 3. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was saying,
yeah.
I remember WrestleMania 3 in 87. Yeah, so yeah, 85.
And what was the venue? What do you remember what the venue was where they did it?
Did they do that
Or
at
at
MSG?
least
I
the
was gonna
city?
say, what
Yes,
was the
MSG.
original MSG, right? Yeah.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
MSG. All right, so now I'm going to give you the results of the matches, and you're going to tell me, or I'm going to give you the names of who was in the match. And you're going to tell me who won. So
In
was it?
WrestleMania 1?
Yes, in
Or
WrestleMania
like a
1.
whole bunch of them?
WrestleMania 1.
Okay.
Mhm.
So was it the Executioner or Tito Santana?
That would be Tito.
I'm guessing Tito, yeah.
So Tito did defeat the Executioner by submission. All right, next one. King Kong Bundy with Jimmy Hart or Special Delivery Jones? Which one?
I gotta say King Kong Bundy, especially if you got Jimmy Hart at WrestleMania 1.
I'd say King Kong.
Yeah, and do you know how they won?
It's been so long ago since
You're
I've
going to
seen
have to
that.
explain what this is actually, because I don't know what this term is. A pinfall?
Oh, sure. That's just when you pin somebody
yeah.
with that and they count
It's
1, 2, 3.
3.
Oh, that's it. So
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Yep.
So that's just normal. No
That's the
wonder.
basic way to win in
Okay, I was
wrestling.
like, I pinfall. All right. Ricky Steamboat or Matt Bourne?
Ricky Steamboat.
Yes.
Yes.
That was the dragon.
Yep,
Yeah.
100%. All right, next one. David Sammartino or Brutus Beefcake?
That was Brutus Beefcake.
Do you know who he was with?
Oh. I mean, one's tempted to say Hulk Hogan, but I know.
No, it was
No.
with Johnny Valiant, and then David
Johnny
was with
Valiant.
Bruno Sammartino.
Oh, okay.
So, but it ended in a double disqualification.
Now, Ken,
Okay, this is
was David Bruno's son?
Yeah.
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 I didn't think it was brother.
All right, was it next one? Greg Valentine with Jimmy Hart or Junkyard Dog?
Oh, I gotta
Another
go
one bites the
JD on
dust.
this.
I'm pretty sure that was JYD.
Yes, it sure was. And that was by count out. All right, next one. Just a few more because they actually didn't have as many then.
Yeah, this is actually
Is this
easy
bringing back a
because
lot of memories?
Little.
this was actually fairly easy because back then
Yeah.
the good guys always won at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
true.
much.
It's true.
So all you have to do is remember who was a good guy.
Yeah. All right. So the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov with Freddie Blassie, or was it the U.S. Express, Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo with Captain Lou Albano?
I mean, based on what we just said,
the American Express.
So the Iron Sheik and Nikolai with Freddie Blassie defeated by pinfall.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
see that?
Yeah.
Okay, how about Andre the Giant versus Big John Studd with Bobby Heenan?
Oh, Andre, because I mean, I'm looking at it as Bobby the Brain Heenan heel. I'm guessing Andre the Giant won.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I'm looking at it was Andre the Giant.
Yeah,
Oh, here's
And
a good
Andre the
one.
Giant didn't. They tried to pawn Andre the Giant off as completely undefeated at WrestleMania
right.
3.
that's right.
There you
So
go.
they couldn't have had him lose 2 WrestleManias ago.
Right,
Yes.
right.
So here's for the ladies. Was it Leilani Kai with the fabulous Moolah or Wendy Richter with
That
Cyndi
was
Lauper?
completely Wendy Richter and the whole Cyndi Lauper era of pro
Yeah,
wrestling stuff.
The
that's
Rock and
correct.
Wrestling Connection.
That's right.
That is correct. And then the last one was Hulk Hogan and Mr. T with Jimmy Snuka versus Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper with Bob Orton Jr.
Well, you're not letting the biggest
Okay.
baby lose the first WrestleMania, right?
I'm going to say 2 things. I completely forgot that Jimmy Snuka was in their corner,
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
and B, that Bob Orndorff wasn't in. I'm sorry, Bob Orton wasn't in the match.
Yeah.
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 So obviously that was
That was
Hulk
Hogan.
Hogan and Mr. T with Jimmy Snuka, and then it was by pinfall too.
And that
I
goes
love
back
it.
to what we were saying earlier about the whole, pop star personality at WrestleMania. You had Cyndi Lauper, you had Mr. T,
Yeah.
I mean, hell, God, what's his name?
Liberace.
Liberace was there.
Liberace, yeah, Liberace, and then he was
What did he
accompanied
do?
by the Rockettes. I remember that first one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Muhammad Ali was there.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think the opening theme was Phil Collins. Do you remember the song?
No.
It was it was the instrumental an instrumental Phil Collins and Philip Bailey hit song. It was Easy Lover. She's an easy lover.
Okay.
Take your heart, but you won't feel it. And then the
Wow.
ending, the closing credits was Axel F by Harold Faltermeyer. So,
Okay.
Mhm.
but yeah, super cool. I love that they have the celebrity guests too. It's I do remember the first time that I ever saw a WrestleMania, and it was pretty incredible. It was so much fun. So much fun. What's your earliest memory, Pete, of wrestling? How did you get into it? Like, what made you kind of gravitate toward it?
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
so far back. I don't even remember. I remember my father being into it, and I kind of gravitated to it that way.
Mhm.
I clearly remember his Broadway Barry Horowitz fan club T-shirt that he and his friends had. They'd wear when they went to wrestling matches.
Right.
On my own, I think the earliest thing I really remember is Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter, when Sergeant Slaughter was the American turncoat during Operation Desert Storm,
Mm.
when he was an Iraqi sympathizer with the Iron Sheik and General Adnan in his corner.
No, let me ask you a question about that, because the days we live in now, would there be an Iron Sheik if it was now versus then? Or do you think that would be totally not
Mm,
a thing that would happen?
That's
I mean,
I don't. That's a tough call
Yeah.
because I mean there's a history of being completely tone deaf in WWE.
Mhm.
And we
This is
had
true.
Muhammad Hassan, was that the character that did the he did that angle with the Undertaker,
yeah,
where he was essentially he started off. It was actually a pretty interesting concept when he started off. He started out as an American. He was supposed to be an American Muslim who was upset because he was experiencing prejudice after 9/11.
Okay.
But eventually, basically, he was mad because I'm Muslim, everybody thinks I'm a terrorist, which was actually a really interesting storyline that they were doing. Eventually, they just morphed him into becoming a terrorist, and they did a spot on SmackDown where he was fighting the Undertaker, and he ended up being taken out. They had a whole group of guys in black clothing with black hoods over their heads, and they carried him out like he was a martyr. And in this whole vague thing, but that aired on the night of the London bombings. I forget what year it was off the top of my head. Yeah. And they got in deep trouble.
I'm sure
the
they
Muhammad
did.
Hassan character got written off almost immediately.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm assuming that character is not around anymore.
Yeah, and that poor Italian wrestler, I don't remember his actual name, but the guy was Italian from Michigan.
Yeah.
And he really never got work again after that.
Yeah.
Through no fault of his own.
Right.
But
I was just wondering.
Then again, you've got the Iron Sheik, and he's got just the force of personality that he is. I can't even. He's got a Twitter account. If you've never read it, I highly recommend go look up the Iron Sheik on Twitter.
Okay.
Definitely.
Because some of the stuff he says, first of all, I can't repeat any of it. It's so profanity laced.
Yeah.
But the man's insane.
Yeah. He was never really for children, I thought, anyway. He kind of scared me when I was a kid. So
but a very nice guy. Very strange guy.
When he's not trying to invite yourself to your home, or trying to invite himself to your home. You remember that, Pete?
I clearly remember that.
I remember Nikolai Volkov.
What's the story? Tell me.
Oh, I've told this before. Convention story many moons ago. Pete and I were at a horror convention that Nikolai and Sheik were at, and we were talking for a little bit, and Sheik wound up asking if I wanted to get some beer. And I didn't realize what Sheik meant was, would you like to buy me beer?
Oh.
And he wound up asking about spending some time if we go back to my place and have beer, and I politely turned him down. And then we flash forward a couple of years later, we're at the same show a couple of years later, meeting up with a friend at the bar, and I'm telling this story. Actually, Blaze, you know, our friend Jess.
Yeah.
And we're telling this story, and a guy sitting one or two chairs over was listening, and he's like, "Oh, he asked you to go back and have beer?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "He did the same thing to me." And I'm like, "Well, did you do it?" And he did.
Wow.
And apparently he thought it was so cool that he was bringing the Sheik back to his house to have a drinking party. Sheik passed out in this guy's house, fell asleep on his couch, and this guy wound up having to wake him up early in the morning because he knew that Sheik had to catch his plane and didn't know how he was getting to the airport, because this guy apparently, I don't think, was set up to take him to the airport. I don't remember the resolution of how it all went down, or if he ever made it or whatever, but another year or two after that, I go to another show in Philly, and I'm hanging out with Nikolai Volkov, and this story comes up again. Like, I told my story, I told this guy's story that I heard, and I'm telling it to Nikolai, and he's like, "I think I remember you." Like, no, you don't. No, you don't. It was so long ago. You meet so many people, there's no way. He's like, "Did Sheik ask you to have beer?" I'm like, "He did. He did ask you for beer." He's like, "Did you take him up on it?" Like, no. He's like,
"No."
Good man.
Good
And he came over and he gave me a hug.
That's so funny. You know what? I remember several years ago, I went to one of the WrestleManias, and this was one that Hulk Hogan was in. The Rock, a bunch of guys. And I was dating this guy at the time in California who loved wrestling, like beyond love wrestling. And uh, I remember just saying, "Listen, afterwards, let's just." I think we went to Applebee's, and we were with two other friends of ours as well. So it was three guys and me. We were at the bar, or at a table in Applebee's, and I just remember looking over and seeing a bunch of the guys after the show. They came to Applebee's, and the guys were nerding out. They were like freaking out. What do we do? What do we do? They were going to like go up to them, and I said, "No, no, 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 no. We'll just send them over drinks, whether it's an alcoholic drink or non-alcoholic, because some of them don't drink." So we sent them over, whatever they wanted to have basically. So then they called me over and I said, all right, guys, follow along. So we go, and it was the Rainmaker, Maven, and who were the brothers? The Dudley Boys. The Dudley Boys and those, so it was four of them. There was the Dudley Boys and then the
Well,
Rainmaker and Maven.
well, just
And
saying Maven painted a picture of pretty much when that was,
yeah,
because he
yeah.
wasn't there that long.
Exactly. So, but they called us over. We started chat. We took a bunch of photos together, had an amazing time, and they invited me back to their place. And I said, "Well, are the guys, invited too?" And of course they weren't. So I declined. I did not go. But the guys were like, "You should have gone. Oh my God." I was like, my own boyfriend, or the guy I was dating, was like pimping me out to Maven and the Rainmaker and it was really the Dudley Boys that were
Yeah.
the catalyst behind the invite, I'm
Nobody's
sure.
doing
But
that for Maven.
yeah, no, it was, but they were really nice, and I had such a great time. And then of course at the end, the guy that I was with, he was so nervous and like so like he lost his camera. I had all the photos on there, like literally candid photos. He lost his camera and we lost everything. So we never got it. So somebody hopefully found the camera and maybe, has all these photos of us with them. If so, please return or send them
All
on
right.
Instagram or something.
All right, so Pete, I'm curious. I saw you pouring. What are you drinking?
Oh, well, I just pulled out some Killian's Irish Red.
Okay. Fitting.
There.
Very fitting for you.
Yeah. No,
So
no Killian's Irish Dane.
Yeah. So I want to know, so the two of you, did you meet on the show, or how, on Loud Idiots, or did you meet before that? Like tell me the history behind you guys.
Way before that.
We're brothers.
We are at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
We've been brothers for a long time, actually.
Yeah. God, I couldn't even tell you what year it was, but Ken and I.
1989.
So you're better than I am.
Okay.
I know exactly. I can tell you the second series of Batman trading cards, Batman the movie trading cards, had come out.
Yeah.
Because I met you on the way. I came back from the shopping center down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother and I went over to your house to introduce ourselves because you had just moved into the neighborhood.
And that's why I remember. That's why I remember. It was 1989. I had moved to Clifton. Yeah.
Yep, and I had a pack of the Batman Series 2, Batman the Movie Series 2 trading cards.
Yep.
And you explained a bunch of the movie to me because I wasn't allowed to see it.
That's right.
Nice. What do you have coming up, Pete?
Biggest thing going on right now is we're in the middle of our March Madness, our character actors March Madness tournament. Where you can go on to the non-productive fan club on Facebook, look it up under groups. I think there's a link on non-productive.com.
Okay.
And you can go on and vote for your favorite character actors. I think there's a big heated. We've had to do kind of a three-way dance because Aubrey Plaza and Judy Greer tied in round 3.
Ooh,
so now it's kind of a three-way dance between Audrey Plaza,
Judy
Greer, and John C. Reilly.
Michael Ironside's not in there?
No, Ironsides didn't make it.
Wow, I'm shocked. Yeah,
I say Judy Greer all the way.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Here's to that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. All
That
right,
was
so
my.
you have that going on for non-pro,
Yep.
and anything else on your agenda? So you're
That's
going to watch this weekend, I'm assuming, for WrestleMania.
Yep.
that's pretty much it for me. I've become an old man. I've got pretty much one project at a time in me.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Well, listen, hold that thought one second. I have to play something real quick, so stand by. We're going to go to In the Kitchen now with Nicole. So here we go.
What's up, Ken and Blaze? So excited to be talking wrestling today. And I know you all are talking WrestleMania and that good stuff, but let's talk about wrestling when it comes to your diet. Here's what. If you feel like every day you're white knuckling or wrestling through the day with your decisions, with your food choices, with planning, with prepping, with doing what you feel like you need to do to be adherent to a really strict diet, guess what? That diet is not for you. Guess what? Most quote unquote diets that are out there probably aren't for you either. So if we're looking at making changes, we always have to look and say, can I do this not for a day, not for a week, not for a month, not even 6 months, not even a year? If you're going to implement changes, you need to look and say, is this something I can reasonably be doing for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years? Am I adding in a bunch of stuff that I can't afford for the long term? Am I cutting out a bunch of stuff that I know is really meaningful to me, either socially or culturally, or just from a taste perspective? So if you start asking yourself those questions, maybe the diet that you've stuck yourself on, maybe it's too much of a wrestling match, and you should reassess and take a look at your goals, your lifestyle, and how those can really align. Ken and Blaze, it is always a pleasure. Back to you in the studio.
All right. So Nicole, as always, thank you so much, Nicole, for your amazing insight and input. We love having you for the In the Kitchen segment, and hopefully in studio sometime soon as well with us again.
She does a great job of theming stuff.
Yeah, she really does. So Pete, we ask everybody one question, and we're going to ask you as well. If you could give a piece of advice for someone who is looking to do what you do, start a podcast or whatnot, what piece of advice would you give them?
Oh, I know his answer.
You do?
Oh,
Don't
try it.
do it. Don't do it.
Did you say cry?
I will not lie. That was the immediate thing that came to mind. But I would say actually kind of just the opposite. Just do it.
Yep.
It's when Ken and I started the Loud Idiots, we did it on MySpace. We sat down with a microphone in his apartment and just the two of us talking about comic books. And we recorded it. We compressed it down to the point where it was almost all static. And fit a 30-minute pod. 30-minute. The term podcast didn't exist because iPods didn't exist at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But we fit a 30-minute recording onto one of those one-song slots in MySpace, for those of you who remember those. But don't wait for it to be commercially viable. Work with what you've got. If it's something that you're really passionate about, eventually it'll take off and take on. You just keep plugging away at it. But don't, especially these days when there's so many ways for you to get your content online out there in front of the public, there's really no excuse to not just do what you're passionate about. So just don't let fear slow you down.
Oh, it did not slow us down in the beginning either. Actually, so much that we actually had to bring other people on because we just babbled way too much about nothing.
Yeah.
I remember that first episode
the only reason why those recordings are rough.
I remember that first episode like it was yesterday and thinking it was the greatest thing until it was like, oh no, this needs to be polished so much. And getting another voice in there to help us out.
Were we talking about Civil War?
Actually, it was what we were looking forward to with X-Men 3 actually getting ready to come out.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
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 I'm in agreement with you though, Pete. I do feel like anything that anybody wants to do, you have to actually put it into practice.
Mhm.
It's great to talk about it, but unless you're actually, putting in the work and doing it, it's just a dream, not
Yeah,
actually something that you put into action. And what's the worst that can happen? Nobody
yeah,
watches and you have a good time and it fails, or whatever you would consider a failure. Is it really a failure, or is it
yeah.
just something that you get better at? Like I mean, I think of Ken and I, we started a year ago on Cinco de Mayo, so we had like that theme of Star Wars, May the Fourth be with you, and then Cinco de Mayo. And I remember we had margaritas and it was so much fun. But we've grown a lot since the inception of the show, and we're almost up to season 3 now. We have 3 more episodes and we're up to season 3. So
Wow.
it's been a really nice, and we've had great guests. And to that end, thank you so much for coming on to surprise
Oh,
Ken for his
my pleasure.
birthday.
Thanks for having me.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday to
Birthday to
you.
you.
Oh, please
Happy
don't.
birthday to you.
To you.
Happy birthday, Ken. We love you. And
Thank you.
it's also my mom's birthday too. So happy birthday. I'd be remiss not to wish my mom happy birthday. They
Well,
share the
happy
same
birthday to her.
birthday. All right. So it's that time of the night where it's time to go beachcombing. But Ken, I had a question for you. What is your favorite marine animal?
I would have to say the squid.
The squid. All right. Well, stand by and let's roll that clip.
On this episode of Beachcombing with Blaze, I'm talking about the amazing squid. And a squid is in the family of other creatures that we love, like the octopus, cuttlefish, the nautilus, and they're in a class called cephalopods or cephalopoda. So cephalopod literally means head, foot. So why, you may ask? If you could just take a look real quick here at the specimen. Here's the head and there's the feet. So it's like basically attached right in one area. There's not really much of a segmented body. The body is above, which makes them very special. They do have 3 hearts, just like the octopus. They also have 8 arms like the octopus, with the suckers as well. If you're looking at these extra long ones here on the side, these are their 2 tentacles. So they have 10 total appendages here. But these 2 long ones, the tentacles, are used for grabbing their prey, and then it brings it into the arms, and then the arms grasp onto it and bring it into the mouth. So I'm going to show you right now. The mouth is right under here, inside there. So one of the cool things, that's the beak right here. So and the mouth area. I'm not going to go too in depth in that because I am going to do another episode where I do a dissection. But for now, I'm just going to kind of do the external anatomy of the squid. So the next thing we're going to look at, so this is the mantle, and it houses all of the internal organs pretty much inside there. And then at the very top, you can see, I will lift it up for you and bring it closer. It has these 2 looks like little wings. These are the fins actually, and this helps with them moving, kind of like a rudder as well. It doesn't help them move very fast. What helps them move fast is inside their body they have it's almost like a jet propulsion system inside. They have a siphon that siphons water out, but it's amazing how fast these guys can move. Another thing while I have it in my hand is if you can see these darker shades here, and then all throughout there's like these little dots that look like pencil dots. Those are called chromatophores. Chromatophores help the squid to camouflage into different colors. It also signals for a mate. Sometimes if it's hunting, it can signal that hunting. And it's just really, really cool. Sometimes even some squids, species of squids, have bioluminescence. That would be the chromatophores that are responsible for that. So really, really cool. One of the other items that I wanted to point out are the eyes. The eyes of the squid are on either side. And what's so cool about their eyes is that they're pretty big. And they do have lenses, just like we do inside there. When I do the dissection, I'll be able to show you the lens, but I don't want to do that right now. Also, obviously, you know about the ink sac. I think we've all seen episodes of things where a squid, when it's scared or when it's trying to get away, it squirts out some ink and kind of blinds its prey so that it makes a speedy getaway. That's one of the really, really cool things about squid. So until next time, we will do a dissection next time, but until next time, I hope you explore, learn, and love the adventure.
All right, squidded it up.
See, I put you on the spot, and you delivered.
Yes, like magical.
Impressive.
Magical. I guess I knew you well enough. So there we go.
There you go.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for our show today. Thank you so much again to Big Papa Pete, and
Yes.
happy birthday to Ken. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye, y'all.
You've just enjoyed the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour with Blaze and Ken.